Mary Backstage, Noble Wife. The story of America's favorite family of the Footlights and of their fight for security and happiness against the concrete heart of Broadway. Today, our story takes place in the Manhattan office of Greg Marlowe, young playwright secretly in love with Mary, as he tells Harry Backstage Jr. and his friend Neil of his plans to locate Harry, Mary, Pop, and Calvin. And we hear Greg say...
And this is one of the finest private eyes in North America, if not South America, if not the entire world.
I know you go to a lot of expense to find my mother and father, Mr. Marlowe, and I really appreciate it.
I watch these private eyes on TV shows, and they get there's somebody at the door. They get like $30, $40 a day sometimes.
Oh, plus expenses, right. It's going to run into money for you, Mr. Marlowe.
It's a little more than that now, if you've been watching the old shows on TV.
I think your secretary's trying to reach you, Mr.
They get
Marlowe.
up to $200 and $250 a day now. You're thinking probably way back to the days
$200 a day?
Of that Ralph Bellamy show.
Holy Toledo, that's a lot of money.
That's when they used to get 20 and 30, but now they get up to $200 and $250 a day plus expenses.
Did you hear that, Neil?
Wow!
They get up to $200, $250 a day. Holy Toledo, that is something.
I can't believe that I'm studying a subject at school that will make me a doctorate. I won't begin to make anything like that.
No, you'll have to be in practice for some time.
Excuse me, Mr. Marlowe. Somebody here to see you.
Oh, who would it be?
His name, he gave me his card. He said you called him Al Holy Toledo, private eye. Oh, fine.
Wow, the detective is here, Neil. Did you hear that? We're going to get to meet him.
Holy Toledo, what a terrific name. I can hardly wait to see him.
Send him in, will you, please?
I'm sorry to bother you, Mr. Marlowe, but the secretary outside said I could walk right in.
Well, no bother at all, Mr. Toledo.
I see you've got company, though. I'll wait outside if you don't mind, sir.
No, they're all part of the problem. I guess I could put it that way.
Oh, just one thing. You don't mind this cigar, do you?
No, not at all.
Some people get very offended if I blow cigar smoke in their face.
Well, I don't want you to blow it in my face.
Oh, you can be sure I won't do that, sir.
I don't like cigar smoke in my face either.
I don't either. It makes me kind of nauseous.
Why don't you take it out and put it out?
All right, let me put it out right in this ashtray here, and I'll listen to what the problem is, Mr. Marlowe.
All right, Mr. Toledo, this gentleman here, this youngster, is Harry Backstage Jr. Are you familiar with the name Harry Backstage, Broadway actor?
Yeah, I believe I've heard it.
And Mary Backstage, his wife? I'm secretly in love with her, incidentally.
Oh, yeah, sure, sir. I remember them both. I saw them in Westchester Furioso a few months ago.
Did you like it?
Oh, it was the worst thing I ever saw in my life,
Did you ever see that TV show?
No, I don't believe I... What time was it on?
It was on like at 5:30 a.m. in the morning, New York time.
Well, I kind of worked the other end of the day, sir. And so Greg Marlowe prepares to outline his plan to locate Mary and Harry. And will Detective Toledo be able to help him? Be sure and join us tomorrow when we'll hear Greg say...
$350 a day?
That's tomorrow in the next exciting episode of Mary Backstage, Noble Wife. Word Carr speaking. Next, Mary Backstage, Noble Wife. The story of America's favorite family of the Footlights and of their fight for security and happiness against the concrete heart of Broadway. As we left our friends yesterday, Calvin had just found a picture lying in the sand of the dry Tortugas. A picture which looked like Mary and Harry. Now, as Mary, Harry, and Pop look on, we hear Calvin exclaim,
"Why, it sure does look like you, though, don't you think?"
Well, let me see that a little bit closer, Calvin. Yes, that is a picture of Mary. Look, Mary, that's you and me.
It's taken so long ago, though.
Yeah, that was one of your first fan pictures that you sent out years ago. You had hair then, Harry, and Mary, you were slim and trim. Yes,
what do you
we
mean
have
by that?
changed just a little bit,
What
certainly.
do you mean by that, Pop? She was thin and trim.
Well, I mean, she was thinner than she is now. She's added a few pounds the past few years.
Well, I've never...
I don't think there's any need
I
to
think
mention
you
that,
look
Pop.
just as lovely today as the day you first stepped on the stage on Broadway,
Yes,
Mary.
I certainly think
Thank
so,
you,
too,
Calvin.
Mary.
You're very nice.
Well, okay, I'll go along with that.
You changed quite a bit, Pop. No need to go into it, of course.
Of course, you've always been kind of on the oldish side, Pop.
Well, what do you mean by that? Well, aside from that, you've always been, a little off-center, like you're not playing with a full deck.
What do you mean off-center? Now, wait a minute. There's no need for us to be bickering here.
Now, we're in a bad enough stew without this internal bickering. Of course he doesn't play with a full deck, but who cares? We're stuck here on Dry Tortugas, and we have to just get off, that's all.
Yeah, well, you've added a few pounds in the past few years.
So what?
Come on now,
Lucky
Mary.
I have
Pop.
one now for strength, just to carry you. I'll probably have to carry you to the rescue boat.
Come on now. Let's all get along.
Just because he doesn't play with a full deck doesn't mean a thing.
Well, you have put on a few pounds. You got to admit it.
Well, I have.
All right, but let's not argue about it anymore.
Soft as a grape.
Let's go back.
All right.
Let me look at that picture again, just to make sure. The only one I know who had a copy of this was Harry Jr.
Let me see.
See, this is where we signed it to him.
Which one is you, Harry, here?
Right there. On the
Then
front
that's
of it.
me here?
Yes. So you were quite slim and trim then.
Oh, I have added a few pounds.
Well, I said you'd add.
Oh, dry up, you crazy loot.
Quiet, Pop.
Well, come on now, folks. Here we are, stuck on an island. Why be fighting with one another? We should be pulling together as a team to get us off this thing and back to civilization.
Well, I think the first thing we should do is try to solve the mystery of that carousel. It's still going around. There's still nobody around it.
Let's see, Harry. Boy, oh boy, oh boy.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, I don't know how you can become an idol of Broadway. How long ago was this picture taken?
Oh, I think probably 20, 22 years ago.
Uh-huh. Boy, oh boy. Looks like a can of bait.
That's Mary you're looking at.
Oh.
And so our friends take a few minutes out to examine the picture found on the beach in the Dry Tortugas. And you want to join us tomorrow when we'll hear Calvin say,
Well, that's no full deck I'm playing with either.
That's tomorrow in the next exciting episode of Mary Backstage Noble Wife. Word Carr speaking. Next, Mary Backstage Noble Wife. The story of America's favorite family of the Footlights and of their fight for security and happiness against the concrete heart of Broadway. On Friday, Calvin announced that he had a theory about the mysterious carousel of the Dry Tortugas. And it's a few seconds later now as Mary, Harry, and Pop listen to Calvin's explanation. And we hear...
Well, as near as I can figure out, see, now it started up. The cloud is gone.
Now, wait. How do you...
Let me explain it to you.
Yes, how do you connect the clouds with the carousel, Calvin?
Well, you see this mirror here?
Yes.
Oh, yes, I see that.
Pretty good size one, too,
What's that have to do with it?
Well, you see the sun rays hit the mirror. And then the mirror reflects these rays. It hits this, I don't know what you call this thing, and it makes this belt go around.
Maybe kind of an electric eye type of operation.
Something like that.
Solar energy, you mean? That's what's running this carousel?
Yeah, the sun is doing it. Because see, now as the cloud just came over.
The cloud just went by the sun and the carousel stopped.
I didn't know you had such a scientific mind.
Were you a science major in college, Calvin?
No, sir, I didn't get to college.
Oh, you didn't?
No, sir.
Oh, I thought you had.
High school, I was always good in geography.
Hey, let me try something. I'm going to put my hand between the mirror and the electric eye.
Well, be careful. Don't hurt yourself.
See? Look.
Oh, no, that won't hurt.
It stops it, see? I cut out the sun from the mirror. Oh, it is amazing.
I just can't believe it.
Well, I'm glad we've solved the problem anyway. Who do you suppose ever rigged this up?
Had no idea how this carousel got way down here. I'm really at sea. I don't mean that literally. I mean, we're out at sea, of course, because we're on an island.
Yes, we're 68 miles west of Key West.
We know what you mean when you say you're at sea. We understand. You mean you're at Loggerheads.
No,
that's another key.
No, at Loggerheads.
Loggerhead Key is further back.
Well, plus, when you're at Loggerheads, you're disagreeing with somebody. You're not at sea.
No, I understand that perfectly.
I'm a little confused.
Well, look, this isn't helping us to get off the island. That's what we started to do, is to try and find water and maybe some food that will keep us until we can be saved.
Well, if you want to look over this way, see clear out to the horizon there.
What?
You see that sail? You know what that means?
Means there must be a boat under it, huh?
That means there's a boat, and I think it's coming this way.
It looks as if it is. If the wind keeps up, maybe we've got a chance to be saved by that boat. Boy, did you hear what I just heard?
Yeah, it's all gray now.
Oh, yes.
There's no,
going to be a good storm, I'm afraid.
no rays getting through this cloud.
Well, we'd better try and find cover someplace. Well, at least under the carousel should be safe. It's got a kind of a rickety roof.
Say,
Keep too much
look
water.
at that boat coming. Is that the Rita B again, you suppose?
Let me see. No, I don't think so, Mary.
No, that has a different configuration of sails.
Different what?
Configuration of sails.
Well, is Mary right in thinking that may be the Rita B returning with Captain Wolf Larsen? Or is it another ship, one that will take them from the Dry Tortugas? Be sure and join us tomorrow when we'll hear Mary say,
It is the Rita B.
That's tomorrow in the next exciting episode of Mary Backstage Noble Wife. Word Carr speaking. Next, Mary Backstage Noble Wife. The story of America's favorite family of the Footlights and of their fight for security and happiness against the concrete heart of Broadway. Yesterday, as a storm approached the Dry Tortugas, Mary, Harry, Pop, and Calvin sighted what looked like the Rita B, Captain Larsen's pirate ship, heading into shore. Now, a short time later, the vessel nears the decaying wharf, as we hear.
Oh, well, look at here. Wouldn't you know, just as we're getting hungry and tired, knee water, the Rita V would show up.
You know, I never thought I'd look forward to seeing this vessel again and its motley crew, but I must say it does express a ray of hope for us.
It's hard to believe that we'd ever think it would be pleasure to see that Wolf Larsen again.
I
That
know.
really is.
Of course, maybe he's had another change of heart. Maybe his attitude is altogether different now. Maybe that's why he came back.
But at any event, you never know. It's always temporary. One of those personalities never lasts more than a day or two, and then he's the other person again.
Yes, you're certainly
That's
right
so
there.
terrible.
Look how it's easing up to the wharf here, the old decaying wharf.
You're doing a good job bringing her in, Captain.
Ahoy aboard the Rita B!
Beautiful job. Yes, sir.
Ahoy, Captain Larsen! It's us, Harry, Mary, Calvin, and me.
Wait.
What's the matter, Mary?
Well, I don't see any sign of life on that ship. Do you?
Not yet, no, but I guess they just haven't realized that they've landed.
I don't see anybody back there or up in front,
And look,
up in the mast.
see the wheel up there in the bow? It's lashed down.
What do you mean by that?
Tied with that rope, that line.
Oh,
So that it'll follow a course all by itself. The sails have been reefed, too.
what do you mean by that?
It means that they've been rolled up on the spars there.
Uh-huh. Well, why would they have the sails reefed if they're on a course to someplace?
That's a good question, Calvin. Ahoy, Captain Larsen.
Ahoy, anybody up on that boat?
Boy, that storm is getting closer and closer, too, isn't it?
Drop a
Yeah,
gangplank.
looks like it.
Drop a gangplank, please.
Nobody's paying any attention. Say, look, there's a rope ladder hanging over the side. Let's go up that.
I don't think you should go, Mary.
No,
I don't either.
I think I could go up a
I don't think I will either.
rope ladder.
Oh, it's one way to get... I tell you what, let me go aboard and I'll speak to the captain and get an idea just what frame of mind he's in, just why he's here.
Harry, just a minute now. You know Captain Wolf Larsen. Do you think that he would tolerate you boarding his ship over the side up a Jacob's ladder this way?
Well, there's only one way to find out, Calvin. Here I go.
There he goes.
How high do you suppose that ladder is up to the
Well, that
rail?
has to be a good 35, 40 feet up there. Be careful, Harry. You gotta... Oh, boy.
Throw me a line. Throw me a line.
We don't have anything. We don't have any line.
Well, how am I going to...
Well, it's only knee deep.
Oh,
Stand
right,
up.
right. I'll just walk out.
Sure. Go up again.
So, just as Harry reaches the rail of the Rita B, he falls backward into the water. Be sure and join us tomorrow when they'll discover whether there's anyone aboard the vessel, and we'll hear Calvin say,
No, this is a derelict.
That's tomorrow in the next exciting episode of Mary Backstage Noble Wife. Word Carr speaking. Next, Mary Backstage Noble Wife. The story of America's favorite family of the Footlights and of their fight for security and happiness against the concrete heart of Broadway. Our story continues today as we join Detective Al Toledo and Greg Marlowe, who has hired him to find Mary, Harry, Pop, and Calvin. And outside the House of Toast, their fast food restaurant in Skunk Haven, we hear Greg say,
I imagine this is probably the last place they were seen, unless it was at home, of course.
Right, sir. That's why I wanted to come back here to question the fellow who's running the House of Toast now. Neil, is that his name?
I have no idea. I don't know who's running the House
Well,
of
let's
Toast.
go on inside, sir, and we'll see who we can find.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the House of Toast. You name it, we have it. We want to do it our way, your way, everybody's way.
Tell me this, Mr. Marlowe. Is that Neil?
That's Neil, the kid who's giving the big sales spiel.
Kid I met in your office with Harry Backstage
Yeah,
Jr.
that's right, sure.
How do you do, Neil?
Hi, how do you want it, on the far side or on the near side?
Say, you're quite a go-getter. You look like you got a good business going here for you.
We really have, and we try to please. We have wonderful toast, and it's buttered just right. If you want extra toast, you can have it for an extra quarter.
I understand.
We're really nifty like that.
I understand, but what's bothering me is, what do you know about the Backstage's disappearance from the House of Toast here?
Well, you think that's bad? I don't even know where Harry Jr. is. You know, he was with me there for a little while.
Yeah, that's when I met you in Mr. Marlowe's office.
That's right. Oh, now I play. You two look so familiar when you came in. I thought you're a couple of profs I had at school.
No, I'm a private detective, and this is Mr. Marlowe, who's secretly in love with Mary Backstage.
How do you do?
Oh, hi. Yeah, sure. Oh, now I know where I'd seen you two before. Yeah, sure. Come on back in my office here.
The one thing that bothers me, Neil, is, were you here the night the Backstagers left, the last time they were seen?
Well, I don't know exactly, the last time they were seen, Mr. Toledo. I'm completely at sea on that. I don't know,
At sea? Wait just a minute. That bothers me. At sea.
Yeah.
I think I got a clue, Mr. Marlowe.
What do you mean?
Is there a dock or a port here in Skunk Haven where boats could come in and go out?
Oh, yes, there is.
Take me to it right away. And at the same moment, in the dry Tortugas, Mary, Pop, and Calvin watch as Harry climbs over the deck of the Rita B.
Be careful now. Don't fall again, Harry.
Certainly is deserted up here. Nobody in sight.
Maybe he's below decks, sleeping or something.
Well, I'm going to lower the gangplank so you folks can come aboard.
Be very careful now. Step back, Mary.
Yes,
I
watch
want
it,
you to
Mary.
get hurt.
Don't let the gangplank fall on you.
What's so funny about that?
I don't know. It seemed funny at the time.
Well, it's not too funny to have a gangplank
All
fall
right,
on you.
is the gangplank lowered?
Yes, it is, Harry.
Then come aboard.
All right. Walk this way, please.
Wow. A deserted derelict. And so our friends all board Captain Larson's Rita B to find no one of the crew or the captain aboard. You ought to be here tomorrow when we'll hear Calvin say,
Hey, look. Right there.
That's tomorrow in the next exciting episode of Mary Backstage Noble Wife. Word Carr speaking. And now with... Next, Mary Backstage Noble Wife. The story of America's favorite family of the Footlights and of their fight for security and happiness against the concrete heart of Broadway. Mary, Harry, Pop, and Calvin have boarded the Rita B and right now are trying to ascertain whether Captain Larson and the rest of his pirate crew are aboard. And as they approach the wheelhouse, we hear...
You know, this is almost like a story I read once when I was a small child about a old derelict ship at sea, just a gray shadow, and then somebody climbed aboard, and there was nobody on there. There's no sign of anything. It's really scary.
A little bit like Robinson Crusoe, isn't it? Or one of those things where the boat was empty and he kept swimming out to get the supplies off.
I don't know, but there's always been something very, I don't know, spooky about a ship with nobody on it floating on the ocean.
Well, of course, it has great dramatic possibilities, Calvin.
Oh, indeed. It has whatever that would mean. You mean like, belt work?
Yeah. Let's
mean
go into
it
the
would
wheelhouse.
have dramatic possibility. What do you mean by that? Like you could set a story here?
Yes, of course, of course.
Fine.
Very mysterious. Let's go into the wheelhouse here and see if there's any sign of.
But you know what's curious?
Nobody in here.
It is curious, though. Where would they all be? He had a big crew on this.
Maybe they abandoned ship for one reason or another that we don't know about.
And yet there's no sign of damage here, no windstorm or water damage. It looks just like he'd just left to go below deck somewhere.
Hey, look, here's the log of the Rita B.
I'm going to
Let's
sit
see what
down
the last entry is.
at Captain Larson's desk and put my feet up on it.
I think I'll see if I can find some of his port. Would you
Sure.
like a little bit of the captain's port?
I'd like about 2 inches of it in a nice tumbler. Sure.
Yes, I would myself. How about you, Mary?
Oh, no, thank you.
You know, I'll bet he'd love to see us here now. Me sitting in his chair with my feet up on his desk with one of his cigars in my mouth, sipping on his port wine. I'll bet he'd just love to see us.
Well, I don't know about that. If he were in a bad frame of mind, I think that would make him quite angry.
I don't think he would appreciate your sitting there in his chair with your feet up on his desk at all.
Well, he's nowhere around, Mary. Obviously, the ship is deserted. Why not make ourselves
there's
comfortable?
something about Captain Wolf Larsen that his presence is always around his boat. I just can't imagine this Rita B without him.
Look at this last page of the log. It's entered on Sunday, and it says 68 degrees south, 44 degrees west of the Dry Tortugas. Abandoned ship at 4:30 in the afternoon.
Oh, let me write those figures down. What degrees were those?
68 degrees south,
Yeah,
44 degrees west.
44 degrees west.
Where would that put him, Calvin, when they abandoned? Can you figure that out?
Oh, what would that be centigrade?
And so our friends find the log of the Rita B and learn that it had indeed been abandoned by the captain and his crew. And maybe we'll learn more of the story tomorrow when we'll hear Calvin say,
Okay, up anchor.
That's tomorrow in the next exciting episode of Mary Backstage Noble Wife. Word Carr speaking. Next, Mary Backstage Noble Wife. The story of America's favorite family of the Footlights and of their fight for security and happiness against the concrete heart of Broadway. Aboard the deserted Rita B, Mary, Harry, Pop, and Calvin have decided to try their chance at sailing back to the mainland from the Dry Tortugas. And in the bridge house, they're just finishing some of the captain's port, as we hear.
Hey, that's not too bad. I think, though, that we should make plans to set to sea.
Yes,
Looking
I do,
at the
too.
chart here, you know, look,
Uh-huh.
Key West isn't too far. It's just about from the tip of my thumb to the first knuckle.
right.
That's not too far
That's
away.
about 65, 68 miles, the way I'd figure it on this chart.
Oh.
Your thumb is about 68 miles,
Oh,
right?
I see. Yeah, right.
Yeah, I
It's
guess
about
that-
65 miles from here.
Now, we should be able to sail this in that direction. We've got a compass. We know.
I'm
Which
going to look
direction
for
it is?
some food. I'll be back in a little while.
Yes, good idea, Mary.
Hey, that's a good idea. I'm
See
getting a
if
little hungry.
they left
Port
any-
filled the spot, though.
See if they left any food aboard. Wonder how long it would take us to sail
Say,
back to Key West.
I don't say, Pop.
Huh?
You're an old radio ham, aren't you?
Yeah.
Didn't they used to call you Sparks years ago?
No, Pop, beloved stage doorman.
Oh, but I mean when you used to play around with radio and shortwave.
They still call me Pop, then.
Oh, didn't call you Sparks?
No?
Well, I'll be.
I had a friend they call Sparks.
Yeah. Well, let's see if we can make contact with the Coast Guard or,
All right, let me sit
Who
down
else
and
would
put
you
these
talk to?
earphones on my head.
and I think I'd get a little more port.
Those don't fit too well with that point on your head, do they, Pop?
How about you,
No, they
Harry?
don't.
You want some more port?
Sure, I'll have some more. It's going to be a happy trip back. In the meantime, we've got to unfurl the sails and pull them up if we're going to sail out of here.
Why don't we try to establish radio contact first, though? Which one of us is going to be captain? Me?
Well, I think I should be. I'm a famous Broadway star.
Well, it's not so much what you are, it's who knows how to sail a boat.
Well, do you know?
Well, I think I know as much about it as you, if not more. I mean, I used to have boats when I was a boy. Of course, they were just rowboats.
Well, all right, you can be captain if you want. It's a grave responsibility, though, you know.
Just so long as you give me the respect I deserve.
Wait a minute, I think I'm getting something on the radio here. It's a pretty good rig that Captain Larson had. Can't get anything yet.
Keep going, you'll find something. There it is. No. What's that?
Wait, I think I got something. Let me go back. So,
Biggest problem.
well,
Who knows how to get an anchor up?
we just pull it up over the side.
Oh, no, that's a pretty heavy anchor there.
That's a pretty dumb question for the captain of this ship to be asking. Who knows how to get an anchor up?
Well, don't be talking that way. You better keep a civil tongue in your head when you talk to the captain
wait
of this
just a
boat.
minute. You're beginning to sound like Captain Larson.
Oh, I don't want to do that. All right, well, let's go aft and get the anchor up, and then we can set to sea.
It's in the bow.
I beg your pardon.
And so, Calvin, Harry, and Pop and Mary begin preparations for sailing the Rita B back to Key West. You ought to be here on Monday when we'll hear Mary say,
No, there's not a bit of food here.
that's Monday in the next exciting episode of Mary Backstage, Noble Wife. Word Carr speaking. Mary Backstage, Noble Wife. The story of America's favorite family of the Footlights and of their fight for security and happiness against the concrete heart of Broadway. Yesterday, as they sailed from the dry Tortugas toward Key West, Mary, Harry, Pop, and Calvin heard Greg Marlowe on their shortwave radio appealing for clues to their disappearance. Now in Marlowe's office, Detective Al Toledo reports on his progress as we hear Greg say.
What kind of progress do you have to report on today, Mr. Toledo?
Well, Mr. Marlowe, I think I've made a little bit of an advance here. Do you see this hat?
Yes.
You know, after I got word at the House of Toast that they were last seen going down to the waterfront in Skunk Haven, I went to say, does this cigar bother you?
Yes, it does, as a matter of fact. I don't usually complain, but you're puffing it right in my face.
I'm awfully sorry, sir. Let me put it out here in this ashtray.
All right.
So I was saying, I went down to the waterfront, began asking questions, and I found this hat. Somebody had
Excuse me
picked
just a moment.
Oh, sure, sir.
Mr. Marlowe?
Yes?
She still works for you, huh?
Mr. Marlowe, somebody out here wants to see you. He won't give me his name.
Well, what kind of nonsense is that? Why wouldn't he give you his name?
Isn't that funny? Somebody
Oh, wait a minute. He just
outside.
gave me his card now. Micklebar Nelson. I'm sorry, Mr. Nelson. I misunderstood you.
Micklebar Nelson.
Why, isn't he the one who started the House of Toast in the first place?
House of Toast. Have him wait, please.
All right. I'll have him wait. Thank you, Mr. Marlowe, for answering my call.
My, she seems to be in a much better frame of mind today than she was last time I was here.
Well, I'm quick to answer her calls now. I don't ignore them like I used to.
I understand, sir. What bothers me is this really Harry Backstage's hat?
Let me see.
It's got HB in the inside there, stamped on the band.
And it's the regular Tom Swift-style cap that he always wore.
Right, sir. So I think I'd better follow this lead. The people who found the hat said they saw Harry and his wife and everybody else going aboard the Rita B.
Mr. Toledo, before you go, though,
Yes, sir.
do you think it would be wise if maybe you went in the next room and kept the door cracked ajar and listened to my conversation with Micklebar Nelson?
Well, sir, do you have reason to suspect Micklebar Nelson of something?
Well, I have no reason. He has no reason to be coming here. That's what's confusing me.
I understand, sir.
And
Well, I'll wait in there if you want me to, but
no, I think
I don't
maybe
want
that
the
wouldn't
trail
be.
to get cold, you know.
No, that wouldn't be very ethical. If he says anything, I can pass it along to you.
Righto, and I'll be on my way to the Dry Tortugas because that's where they said the Rita B was going to sail.
Who said that?
The people down at the wharf in Skunk Haven. They saw the boat sail away with your friends aboard.
But Wolf Larson never told people his destination.
And so, despite Al Toledo's new clue, Greg Marlowe seems to think it leads to a dead end. But you want to be here tomorrow when we'll hear Greg say,
No, Mr. Nelson. That's a dead end.
That's tomorrow in the next exciting episode of Mary Backstage, Noble Wife. Word Carr speaking. Next, Mary Backstage, Noble Wife. The story of America's favorite family of the Footlights and of their fight for security and happiness against the concrete heart of Broadway.
with Harry and Calvin at the helm, our friends are sailing the Rita B toward Key West, Florida. And as today's episode begins, Pop Beloved, stage doorman, is trying to tune the radio equipment as Mary looks on. And we hear Mary say,
Well, I think you're moving your hand up and down the dial a little too fast, Pop. You don't give it a chance to pick up anything.
well, that may be. I'll try it a little bit slower here. Sound like a lot of foreign stations.
Well, you know, you're out here in the ocean.
That's right.
You're picking up radio waves from Africa, South America, North America, South America, Africa, North America, Europe.
From all over, in other words.
Yes, sir.
Right.
South America.
Are you keeping on the course, Calvin?
As far as I know, I am. Apparently, you see, there are no telephone poles to steer by. I think I'm going straight, but I can't tell.
One way we can tell is by looking at our wake.
What's that?
Our wake.
Oh, I see. You mean the thing back?
Yeah, that's right. If it's straight, then we're going straight.
But I can't watch out forward and watch out back. Somebody will have to go out back and watch out back for me.
That's sure.
I don't have eyes in the back of my head.
So much for the local news. This is Roger Skipinus reporting over WFMF and WFMF-FM. We have a guest in the studio today, a very well-known Broadway producer who has a very important message to give to our radio listening audience. I'd like to introduce Mr. Greg Marlowe, secretly in love with Mary Backstage.
Thank you, kid. I come before these microphones with full trepidation.
That's a familiar voice. It's Greg Marlowe.
Dear friends of mine, the Backstagers, who have established their name on Broadway,
Well, he's talking about us.
on television, are reported missing. The last time I saw them, gosh, Mr. Roger, I forget just how long ago it was since I saw them.
I think you told me it was about 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Yes, well, it is. I was trying to pinpoint it exactly for the police just this morning.
Yes, it was 4 weeks ago.
The sad part is, of course, in Skunk Haven Harbor, Harry Backstage's hat was seen floating.
Well, by that, do you mean that you think something untoward has happened to Mr. Backstage?
They think something happened to Harry and everybody.
You think he's had a very bad accident?
Did Harry lose his hat?
Well, it's, of course, only guesswork now.
He sounds terribly
when somebody's
broken
missing
up.
as long as 3 or 4 weeks, and the only thing you can find is their hat floating, then you have to, of course, put 2 and 2 together.
Oh, Greg thinks I've drowned.
I can't believe it.
We only had some way of contacting him.
How can we get a hold of him? You got a radio. Contact him, Pop.
And so our friends listen in amazement as they hear Greg Marlowe making an appeal over the radio station back home. You ought to be here tomorrow when we'll hear Greg say,
Yes, any information will be rewarded with $5.
That's tomorrow in the next exciting episode of Mary Backstage, Noble Wife. Word Carr speaking. Next, Mary Backstage, Noble Wife. The story of America's favorite family of the Footlights and of their fight for security and happiness against the concrete heart of Broadway.
Today we join Mary, Harry, Pop, and Calvin again aboard the Rita B as they continue sailing Captain Larson's pirate ship toward Key West. And in the wheelhouse, Calvin at the helm expostulates,
You know, there's nothing like a little salt air to
whip up the old appetite. I'm getting hungry as a bear.
I was thinking the very same thing. It's been quite a while since we had anything to eat.
You know, looking at the wake of the boat, though, it looks like we're going pretty straight. I took a meander up there a few minutes ago, and I could tell that wherever we're going in a straight line.
Well, are we going in a straight line toward Key West, according to the chart?
Well, you read it.
Yep,
See?
yep, we are. That looks fine to me.
It's still about half my thumb away, which means
about 65
miles, something like that. Yes, sir?
Well, of course, that's just an estimate. We have sailed some distance since we left the Tortugas.
Isn't it a good sign, though, when you see birds start coming along, trailing your boat? Is that a good sign or a bad sign?
Well, that's a pretty good sign. They either think we're nearing land or we're going to throw some garbage out.
Well, it could be. Speaking of that, I wonder what Mary's getting for dinner.
I'll go below and see if I can help her out and see if there's any action. I'll be right back.
All right. So, Pop, doesn't it feel good, though, to be up here in the wheelhouse? You're kind of like in a world your own.
I feel like singing some sea chanties. Do you know any?
No, I don't know too many sea chanties. But, I mean, you know, you're so alone. It's a world that you can make yourself up here. You go this way, that way, we're over there, and the sky is clear, not a cloud in the sky, a nice breeze.
Water in every direction.
I mean, who needs a house of toast back in Skunk Haven? This is the life.
Yeah, but I gotta say I do miss the house of toast. I miss Broadway and the curtain and the excitement of the first nighting and all that stuff.
Of course, there is the nagging thought, too, that it isn't our boat, that probably legal authorities would think that we, stole it or hijacked it from Captain Wolf Larson.
Well, I know, but anybody knows Captain Larson wouldn't take his part, I don't think.
Well, I mean, it was his boat after all.
All right, Mary's got everything ready.
Oh, good.
Oh, we all go at once, or you want me to take over the wheel, Calvin?
Why don't you,
Somebody should stay here.
Let me just tie the thing this way, and we'll go straight, and we'll all go down and eat together.
That's a good idea.
I mean, there's nothing to run into out here, right?
No, of course not. Just wide open water. Here, I'll tie this side.
Okay. Now, let's go below and enjoy a sumptuous meal at sea.
I wonder what Mary has prepared.
I don't care. Just sit any place. Doesn't make any difference. Just so long as Calvin sits there, he is captain.
We just realized that we're pretty hungry. I'll sit on your right hand.
No, you don't either. No, you won't.
Well, you're the captain. I'd like to sit on the right hand. That's done at sea.
I can't eat if you sit on my right hand.
So our friends, hungry as they are, prepare for their first meal aboard the Rita B, a meal prepared by Mary in the galley. You ought to be here tomorrow when we'll hear Calvin say...
Yeah, we hit something.
That's tomorrow in the next exciting episode of Mary Backstage Noble Wife. Word Carr speaking. Next, Mary Backstage Noble Wife. The story of America's favorite family of the Footlights and of their fight for security and happiness against the concrete heart of Broadway. It's moments after we left our friends yesterday as Mary prepares to serve dinner to Harry, Pop, and Calvin in the saloon of the Rita B. Everyone seems to be in a happy frame of mind as we hear.
You know, it's awful wonder what there is about salt air that really whips up your appetite.
Oh, you're so right. I could eat a horse.
I could eat a bear.
What's on the menu, Mary?
Well, the only thing I could find, there wasn't much food on this ship, which makes me think that something bad befell Wolf Larson and his crew.
Oh.
All I could find was a slab of salt pork.
Salt pork.
Salt pork, eh?
Salt pork, eh? What else, Mary?
Well, water. And I filled up the big pot with water, and then I put in the slab of salt pork, and I let it simmer. And,
you know, there's something about salt air sometimes that kills your appetite.
I don't know as I'm so hungry now myself.
No,
You mean, Mary, that, in essence, we're going to have, quote, salt pork soup, unquote?
Is that what we're going to have, Mary?
Well, pretty much. I added a few other things. There was some dried beans I added towards the end, and that's...
What's this over here on the plate? Hardtack?
I don't know what that is. It was there in the galley. I It's just sitting there. I don't know what it is.
Uh-huh.
What do you think it is?
Well, it looks like crackers of some kind. Sea biscuits, maybe.
Looks like some kind of tile that you'd put on a floor.
Yeah, it looks like it's pretty stale.
You mean that would be like a linoleum tile or some sort of a...
Well, that's what it looks like, yes.
Yes. Well, then don't eat it.
Let me ask you this, Mary. Are you hungry?
Yes, I am. I'm still, although I've been standing over a hot stove watching this salt pork, and somehow or other I'm not as hungry as I thought I was.
Uh-huh.
You see.
Uh-huh. Well, as for me, I think maybe I'll go above decks and get a bit of fresh air. How about you?
I think I'll go check out and make sure we're still on the straight course. There's nothing worse than going around in circles on a boat with nothing to eat but a bowl of salt pork soup.
Let me help you clear the table, Barry, and take the dishes back to the galley.
All right. Well, I don't know as we feel much better, but I know I feel a little bit better now.
I do, too. Contemplating that meal was a little bit too much there for a while. I could wait until we hit dry land.
See, what probably would be wrong with that soup, it's all one flavor, you know? Salt pork.
Salt pork flavor, yes.
You know what I'd like right now?
What?
One of those big Belgian waffles.
And so hunger disappears from our friends and then returns to Calvin in the desire for a Belgian waffle. And you'll want to be here tomorrow when we'll hear him say,
"That's not a Belgian waffle."
That's tomorrow in the next exciting episode of Mary Backstage Noble Wife. Word Carr speaking. Next, Mary Backstage Noble Wife. The story of America's favorite family of the Footlights and of their fight for security and happiness against the concrete heart of Broadway. On Friday, as Mary, Harry, Pop, and Calvin were sailing the Rita B steadily toward Key West, our friends were surprised to see a helicopter make several passes over the vessel, at the same time dropping what appeared to be advertising leaflets. Now, a short time later, we hear Calvin.
You know, it's hard to believe that, let's say a dry cleaner in Miami would hire a helicopter to drop leaflets over the one boat out here in the ocean.
That's right. Of course, we don't know it is a dry cleaner, but
I suppose it's a supermarket. What difference
it
does
doesn't make any difference. It does mean we're getting close to
Oh, well, not just a minute.
land.
Many years ago, I remember my brother, when he was given little flyers to distribute, used to just throw them down the sewer and say he delivered them.
Sure, just to get rid of them.
Maybe the helicopter pilot just flew out and said, well, let's dump them on the drink.
Well, that could be, I suppose, Mary, but they did seem to circle around in wide circles and drop them over a big area.
Yeah. Well, a couple landed on board.
Well, I think it'd be like like finding a message in a bottle or something like that. I guess they figure fishermen would read them, would respond.
It strikes me as funny, though. Can you imagine the poor businessman back there in Florida or wherever hiring a helicopter to drop leaflets over, say, a big shopping area and have them fly out over the ocean and drop them on us?
Yeah, that's a waste of money.
It is funny. It's a good joke on whoever pulled it, of course.
Well, it is, and I guess maybe he'll learn sometime that his advertising message didn't get to where it was supposed to be.
One thing, of course, the paper, floats.
Yes, that's true.
And they could float back, and then the businessman who hired the helicopter could find his leaflets floating in the bay.
See, I've got an idea. Maybe the helicopter pilot knew the way of the tides. He knew that if he dropped them right here, they would be washed ashore at a certain spot where there's a big beach, a lot of bathers, and they'd be able to read the advertising message.
Oh, by then you mean that he dropped them intentionally so they'd drift in on the tide and bathers could find it?
It's possible. Certainly. There must be beaches nearby here along the Keys.
Maybe these things advertise some kind of a sunburn lotion.
Well, why don't you read one? Maybe we'll find out that way what it is.
Well, it says.
See if it is a dry cleaner or a liquor store or something.
This is an official warning. Clear these waters.
That doesn't sound very much like an advertisement for a cleaner, does it? No.
Not so far. Naval gun practice will commence in this area
at 0930 hours. Repeat, naval gun practice will commence in this area at 0930 hours. This is an official warning. Clear these waters.
Well, that
doesn't tell me a thing.
Does it say any official name on there?
Wait a minute.
What?
We're targets. We're sitting fish.
And so our friends suddenly discover that they're in the middle of a naval target area. You ought to be here tomorrow when we'll hear Mary say,
"Oh, this is awful. Get us out of here."
That's tomorrow in the next exciting episode of Mary Backstage Noble Wife. Word Carr speaking. Next, Mary Backstage Noble Wife. The story of America's favorite family of the Footlights and of their fight for security and happiness against the concrete heart of Broadway. As we left Mary, Harry, Pop, and Calvin yesterday, they had just discovered the Rita B is in the center of a naval target area. And now, as the firing seems to be increasing around them, we hear...
What do you mean? You mean to tell me that we're in the middle of a target area?
Well, that's what it begins to look like, Mary. Yes, that's...
Yeah, I can hear them.
That's certainly... those are shells, all right.
Well, you know, wouldn't you think the helicopter pilot would have given us a little more time to get out of these waters? I don't understand it.
Do you suppose he saw us, actually, Calvin?
Sure he saw us. How could he miss us?
He was right above the vessel here, right above the Rita B.
It's hard to tell. You can't put yourself in somebody else's shoes until you've walked a mile in those shoes.
Oh, that's so
what
very
does that
true.
have to do with it?
Well, it's
that
true.
That has nothing to do about walking a mile in shoes. I mean, if he saw us, he didn't see us. The point is, he should have given us more time anyway.
Boy, we must have been drifting off course to land up in the middle of a target area like this.
Could be. I don't know anything about it. I don't even know what waters we're in.
No,
As far as I know, we're far from dry Tortuga.
Well, we must be far from any land if they're running naval maneuvers out here.
You know, really, actually, it wasn't so scary. The colors are just beautiful. It's a regular kaleidoscopic waterfall of all colors of the spectrum.
Yes, I've seen many a 4th of July celebration that couldn't match this.
That was very nicely put.
You know, those seem to be getting a little bit closer to us, don't they?
Yeah, it seems like they're zeroing in. Do you don't suppose they think we're a target?
Well, now, that's possible. We certainly don't look like a current kind of a boat. We look like a pirate vessel.
You did put it very nicely, Calvin. The kaleidoscopic waterfall of all colors of...
Wow!
Ooh, that was
Look at that
beauty. Ooh, wasn't that nice?
Say, you don't suppose this is some kind of a bicentennial celebration, do you?
Oh, there's a...
Say.
Oh, isn't that pretty?
You mean maybe these are all duds, that they're just make-believe bombs?
Oh, these
shells?
are not duds. Not the way the water flowed up after they hit the surface.
Oh, they're the real thing, all right.
Speaking of the colors of the spectrum, how do they go? Now, you have your red and your white, your violet.
Violet's a combination of red and blue, I think.
Yeah,
That's
but
violet.
the spectrum goes... how does the spectrum go? Is
red,
red and then yellow
and
blue. And then don't forget green is in that spectrum. Yeah, look at that one. Isn't that pretty? The green and the blue.
Well, that's yellow and blue together makes the green.
Is that so?
You know, I don't think we should be standing here looking at all of this fireworks. We should be trying to get out of the way.
Maybe we should try to get this boat moving along. Just to float along here and target is not the wisest thing ever.
I think that's right. Let's haul up the sails and try to make a run for it.
We've been hit.
So, just as our friends decide to try and get the Rita B out of the target area, Calvin calls that they have been hit. You want to be here tomorrow when he continues, and we'll hear...
Where are the lifeboats?
That's tomorrow in the next exciting episode of Mary Backstage Noble Wife. Word Carr speaking. Next, Mary Backstage Noble Wife. The story of America's favorite family of the Footlights and of their fight for security and happiness against the concrete heart of Broadway. Today, our friends found themselves in the middle of a naval firing range, with the Rita B as the principal target. Now, as the firing continues, shells hit all around them. We hear Calvin say,
Yes, sir? I think it's time that we look for a boat to get out of here. I'm not usually one to panic, but I think we're in a very untenable position here.
Yes, I think you're right, and we do have a lifeboat we can lower and get away from the Rita B. Maybe it is a target.
You're still captain of the ship, so whatever you say, Calvin.
How do you announce that we're going to take to the lifeboats, Calvin?
All hands to the lifeboat.
What does
but
that
there's only
mean?
the four of us, so that's silly. I'll be the last one, however, to step aboard the lifeboat.
All right, come on, Pop. We'll lower this davit over here.
You, Mary, will be first.
All right. Davit.
Davit?
Davit, that's what this is.
Oh, yeah, davit.
Get aboard, Mary.
All right.
You're next, Pop. Okay.
You go, Harry. I go.
I hate to leave you last, Calvin.
Well, that's what the captain has to do. He's the last one to leave the ship.
All right, here I go. I'm in. Come on, Calvin.
Well, I kind of hate... I'm just taking one last look around here.
Well, come on, get in the lifeboat.
Well, I just want to take one long look and see if everything is... I better get going.
You'd better get in the boat.
All right, here I
The sooner we can get a little distance between us and the Rita B, the safer we'll be. You in? All right. Here, hand me that oar there.
Mary, start lowering the davit.
We've already lowered the davit, Calvin.
We're in the water?
Sure.
How can I get to the... Well, I'm confused.
Come on, let's start rowing. I'll take the other oar. What's the matter, Calvin?
Well, listen, when you get in a lifeboat, you get in it, then you lower it into the water.
Oh.
What is this?
Oh, all right. Well, let's lower it then.
All right.
I wondered how you're going to use the oar with the...
I was all confused. I was literally and figuratively at sea at that, Harry. Sometimes you're hard to follow.
Well, now, we're in the water now, certainly.
Yeah, now let's row.
Let's make tracks.
Over this way. You can't make tracks in water.
No, it's just a figure of speech.
I know, but it's not a good figure of speech to use when you're at sea.
Well, which way should we row, do you think?
This way, and everybody keep their heads down. These missiles are getting lower and lower.
And closer they look like, too. I don't know how far we'll have to row until we can find land.
Look at this bubble. Does that mean there's a leak in this thing?
Let me see. Well, take a look at that, Calvin. I can't see from here.
Yeah, that's definitely a leak.
We are leaking, then.
We need a coffee can.
And so our friends take leave of the Rita B and head away in the lifeboats. And you'll want to be here tomorrow when we'll hear Mary say,
Land ahoy!
That's tomorrow in the next exciting episode of Mary Backstage Noble Wife. Word Carr speaking. Next, Mary Backstage Noble Wife. The story of America's favorite family of the Footlights and of their fight for security and happiness against the concrete heart of Broadway. It's a few hours after our last episode now as Mary, Harry, Pop, and Calvin and the Rita B's lifeboat row valiantly away from the area being used for naval gun practice. We hear Calvin say,
Keep rowing valiantly now. We gotta head for shore.
and keep your thumb in that hole so that water doesn't come in, Captain.
Oh, you don't have to call me captain. We're all good friends here. I feel silly being captain of a little dinghy like this.
Are you still technically captain after we leave the main ship that you were captain of and get into the lifeboat?
I think according to any book of maritime law, captain is captain of a big ship, and he continues to be captain when they go overboard in a dinghy or a life raft or
I suppose
anything.
that would be true until we set foot on dry land.
Oh, I'm sure that's right, but let's not split hairs over that. The important thing here is to get to land.
You know what I just had a thought about? You know how long it's been since we've had a square meal?
it's been a long time. How long is it?
It goes back to when we were on the Dry Tortugas, and we got aboard the Rita B. Mary, you tried to get some kind of food together. We couldn't eat it. Must be days now.
Well, trying to add them all up together, we haven't had a square meal in 10 days.
10 days?
10 days?
10 days? Yeah, I guess it'll be pretty near that.
I know you look a lot better, Harry, taking off a little.
Well, I needed to take a little bit of weight off, of course, but this is a hard way to do it.
It's done wonders for you, no doubt about it. However, hey, watch that water.
Well, keep your thumb in that hole there and keep the water out. You want me to take over for a while?
Why don't you, please?
All right,
yeah.
let me move over.
Oh, hey, hurry up, get your finger in there.
Don't tip the boat over.
Oh, boy.
Oh, I'm kind of tired of rowing, aren't you?
Why don't we just rest for a while? Is there any sign of a bird or anything?
I haven't seen any, but I do notice that most of that firing has ended. Can't hear it. It must be out of that bad area we were in.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. Wherever we land, I don't think I'm going to go to sea again for a long time.
No, I think I've had enough of the high seas for some time myself. Where do you suppose we will land?
Where do you suppose Captain Wolf Larsen is?
Well, I don't care about him. I'm more concerned about us and which direction we're going in.
That was one thing to be worried about him when he was head of the crew, but forget it now that he's not around. I just hope that eventually they don't hold us responsible for his disappearance.
By they, who do you mean, Calvin?
The authorities. If anything has happened to Wolf Larsen and his crew, we were the last people to have been on that boat. We've been seen by the helicopter pilot. I don't mean to cause a lot of trouble here, but I think we're in serious legal difficulties.
Good thinking on your part. And so our friends continue to row. Hope that they'll hit dry land soon. And you want to be here tomorrow when we'll hear Calvin cry out,
"There it is!"
That's tomorrow in the next exciting episode of Mary Backstage Noble Wife. Word Carr speaking. Mary Backstage Noble Wife, the story of America's favorite family of the Footlights and of their fight for security and happiness against the concrete heart of Broadway. It's shortly after yesterday's episode now as we join Mary, Harry, Pop, and Calvin in the lifeboat of the Rita B as they try to spot some small sign of land. And we hear Calvin.
Wouldn't you say that off there, looking that way, birds, is that a sign of land?
Do you see birds there, Mary?
No, but I thought I did. Maybe it's one of those... Do you have a mirage on the ocean?
Oh, I guess you can, sure.
Oh, I thought the mirage just happened in deserts.
No, you can have it on the ocean, too.
See, I look around here, and it looks just like one big hunk of water, but that's no mirage.
I thought I saw the flapping of little seagull wings a while ago.
You know what I'm thinking of now?
What's that?
A thick steak, about an inch and a half thick.
Even a thick prune shake wouldn't be bad.
And, red in the middle and black on the outside, crusty, and nice hot rolls, nice salad.
Sure isn't the house of toast you're thinking about.
And French fried potatoes, or baked if you would.
You know what I'd like to do would be to wake up and find this has all been a dream, that all of the days in the Dry Tortugas and aboard the Rita B was all in our imagination.
Big salad with nice tomato slices
well, we
in it.
Can't do that.
Big
That would be
chunky blue cheese dressing.
That would be defeating our dramatic purpose, our dramatic promise to get through this thing all right.
Goblet full of a nice red wine.
Say, look over there.
Oh, would you stop that? You're driving me crazy.
Look, Mary.
What?
Look, there's a shoreline.
Where?
Over there, about 10:30.
I think she's right.
I think you're right.
You're right.
Harry.
I tell you, I am so confused. I don't even know my name.
Well, let's roll more swiftly and pull for the shore.
Hurry, men, hurry. Time is of the essence.
I hope there's a restaurant there.
Yes,
all
sir.
I can think about is food, too.
How about a big dish of butter pecan ice cream?
Oh, don't talk that way anymore, Calvin. Just roll.
Okay.
We should be able to make that land in just a few minutes.
I wonder what the mother of me is doing. She must be just worried sick about... You see, I'm her only boy.
Yes, I know that, and she hasn't seen you now for a couple of
We
months.
know all that, Calvin. For heaven's sake.
His mind is wandering a little, Mary.
He's been to sea too long. Been without food too long, too.
Yeah, been without food too long.
Well, we all have been without food too long, but maybe it's in sight. Maybe we'll get some food in the next few minutes.
I wonder what land we're heading for.
Yes, where do you suppose we'll set foot?
Well, we left Dry Tortuga. I assume this would be Florida. I just guess.
Could be Florida, could be Louisiana, could be Texas.
Texas?
Could be Texas.
What do you mean, Texas?
Well, sure, if we went the other way in the Gulf of Mexico.
That's right.
That would take us into Texas.
Look, there's a sign over there. What does it say?
Welcome to...
And so our friends indeed spy dry land at last. But where are they? Be sure and join us on Monday when we'll discover where, when we hear Mary say,
I think they speak Spanish.
That's Monday in the next exciting episode of Mary Backstage, Noble Wife. Word Carr speaking. Next, Mary Backstage, Noble Wife. The story of America's favorite family of the Footlights and of their fight for security and happiness against the concrete heart of Broadway. Yesterday, our friends at last set foot on solid ground and began a search for food and information as to their whereabouts. And it's moments later now as Mary, Harry, Calvin, and Pop contemplate their surroundings, and we hear Mary say,
Well, it looks to me like I think you're the winner, Pop. Doesn't that sign over there read kind of Spanish-like to you?
Yeah, that's in Spanish, all right. We must have landed in Mexico.
I can't believe that. Here we thought you were just some kind of a fool for thinking that it was Mexico we were going to land in.
This is a beautiful spot, though, if you look at the trees and the sky above and the mountains off there in the distance.
Well, at least, we're on firm ground. The point is that we're a long way from Skunk Haven and the House of Toast.
Yeah, we don't want to just start out through the trees not knowing where we're going.
If we ever a long way from home and House of Toast, why, we must be, well, thousands and thousands and thousands of miles.
Well, I guess,
no doubt about
guess
that.
we're that far anyway. Do you remember any of your Spanish, Mary? Maybe that would stand us in good stead. I know I took it for a short time, but I don't remember.
Well, I had a few courses in high school Spanish, but I don't know as I can recall anything. Certain words like,
Por favor.
lucre and means money and things like that. Dinero is another one
Well,
for money.
once you start speaking Spanish, it'll all come back to you if we start, all of us, remembering a few words here and there.
Well, estoy todo rendido. Phew.
What do you mean by that, Calvin?
Oh, don't you know what that means?
No, say it
let
again.
me run it by you again.
Yep.
Estoy todo rendido. Oh.
Is there something?
Wait,
No?
estoy, rendido.
Does it mean, is there any hot water?
No, nothing like hot water.
Is it bigger than the bread box?
No, it's
Well-
a phrase. We're not playing a game, are we?
No, I think the best thing we can do is try to move. Look.
Means I'm all tired out. Estoy todo rendido.
Oh, tired and hungry.
Try it.
Estoy todo rendido.
todo rendido.
You try it, Bob.
Estoy todo rendido.
Estoy.
Estoy.
Very good.
I think we've got it.
Hey, look here.
What?
Look here.
What?
An automobile.
Hey, it is, and it's got Mexican number plates on it.
Real old junk, but, wonder if we could use this for transportation
Well,
to
let's-
get to the nearest village.
Let's get in and see if it starts.
All right.
Key is right here.
Just out of the blue, si ton ni son.
What was that?
Sin ton ni son. Without rhyme or reason, we found this car here.
SSO Toto.
What's that?
SSO Toto.
Sure.
Is that all?
Yeah.
Well, try and start the car.
Huelo algo. Huelo algo.
What's that mean?
I smell something.
So our friends ascertain that they have arrived at some part of Mexico. and begin to brush up on their Spanish. Tomorrow they'll meet a stranger, and we'll hear Calvin say,
You mean we should watch out for the Feather Alley Troopers?
That's tomorrow in the next exciting episode of Mary Backstage Noble Wife. Word Carr speaking. Next, Mary Backstage Noble Wife. The story of America's favorite family of the Footlights and of their fight for security and happiness against the concrete heart of Broadway. Yesterday, upon landing on an uninhabited point on the Mexican shore, Mary, Harry, Pop, and Calvin found a small truck. And we see them now as Calvin propels the vehicle along a bumpy back road, and we hear...
Well, it's transportation.
Yes,
Sort.
and it's getting somewhere, but we don't know where.
Well, I saw a sign that said Veracruz along this road. Didn't have any numbers after it.
That's supposed to be a very nice place, from what I've read.
Yeah, I suppose it is. I have a funny feeling, though, that somebody will be looking for this. You don't suppose that this could have been left here years ago and we just happened on it?
Well, that's kind of unlikely with gasoline in it and everything. Yeah.
Well, I think probably, well, the way I look at it, somebody went out on a boat, see, left this here, and in case they came back, they'd have their truck here.
Oh, right. That's very likely what it is. They're out fishing,
Could
probably.
very well be that. Then, actually, what we've done here is committed a crime.
Right. We've stolen a vehicle and could get it.
The clutch slips on this thing.
Yeah,
Yes, that's not the only thing that's slipping. I almost fell out of here.
Oh.
This is really the roughest ride I've had in years.
Better fasten that seatbelt, Mary.
What seatbelt? It's good we can laugh at a time like this.
It is, but I'm still hungry. I wish we'd find a... Wouldn't it be great to pass a house of toast down here in Mexico?
Well, they're not down here.
No, I don't
sure.
think so.
But this is definitely Mexico. See a few signs of Mexican or Spanish.
Well, maybe even a taco stand would be good.
I don't know. Do you like tacos?
Yeah, I do. And yo como muy poco.
What's that?
Yo como muy poco. I don't eat very much, but I am hungry right now.
You remember all these little phrases.
Well, I'm trying to practice up on the few I know.
What is the tacos, anyway?
What is it?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a crusty
Oh, this is
Kind
the
of a-
roughest ride.
pastry with hot chili meat.
That
beef
horn
filling.
went off by itself. I didn't even
I thought
touch
it was. Well, it's the bouncing around we're taking.
What was tacos? Did you say?
It's a pastry, a dry pastry with some meat filling and chili and some cheese sprinkled over it, hot sauce.
Well, the weather forecast down here is cool today, hot tamale.
Well, maybe we'll find some of those. Who knows?
Oh, Calvin, you have such a rich sense of humor. I don't know what we'd do without you at times. Then again, sometimes I'd like to try.
Hey, look up ahead.
What?
Isn't that a truck coming this way?
Sure is.
Looks like kind of some sort of a government vehicle, too.
Looks like a bunch of soldiers are standing in the back of the truck, too.
Yeah.
Kind of look like, like one of those soldier transport trucks.
Looks like they're pointing at us, too, as if we've done something wrong. Oh.
What do you want? Say hablo español? No speak.
And so after quite a spell of not seeing anyone, our friends spy a truck loaded with soldiers heading their way. And you want to be here tomorrow when we'll hear one of them say,
Up against the wall.
That's tomorrow in the next exciting episode of Mary Backstage Noble Wife. Word Carr speaking. I can't wait for that episode either.
Oh, I'm with you.
Say, we hope